Hello, beautiful listeners, and welcome back to Green Earth Essentials, the podcast where we explore natural solutions for a healthier, more sustainable world. I'm your host, Michelle Jackson, and today we're digging deep, literally, into a topic that might seem small, but holds the key to the future of our food, biodiversity, and cultural heritage, heirloom seeds. What makes an heirloom seed so special? Why should we care about saving them? And how can something as humble as a tomato seed help us reclaim control over our food and protect the planet? Let's get started. Heirloom seeds are more than just old seeds. They are living links to agricultural history, typically defined as open pollinated plant varieties that have been passed down for at least 50 years. Heirlooms are preserved for traits like exceptional flavor, resistance to local pests, and adaptability to specific climates. Unlike hybrids or genetically modified organisms, GMOs, heirloom seeds are not manipulated in a lab or bred for uniformity. Instead, they evolved naturally, shaped by the hands and habits of farmers, gardeners, and seed savers. Because they're open-pollinated, heirloom plants produce seeds that will grow true to type. This means that if you save seeds from a healthy heirloom tomato this year, you'll likely get the same tomato next year. A critical feature for self-sufficient gardening and seed sovereignty. That's in stark contrast to hybrid seeds, which often produce sterile or unpredictable offspring, requiring growers to buy new seeds each season. But heirlooms aren't just defined by genetics. They carry cultural and historical significance. A Cherokee purple tomato might trace its roots to the Cherokee people. A family in Italy may have handed down a special variety of basil for generations. Some heirlooms were once grown by Thomas Jefferson or brought to America by immigrants, tucked in the hems of skirts or inside coat pockets. They're not just seeds, they're stories. Heirlooms in the truest sense of the word. Every heirloom variety represents a chapter in our food heritage, a memory encoded in color, flavor, and resilience. When we grow them, we're not just planting a crop, we're reviving history and honoring the deep relationship between people and plants. Biodiversity isn't just about protecting pandas or rainforest frogs. It's also about what's on our plates. Today, over 75% of the world's food comes from just 12 plant and 5 animal species. That lack of genetic diversity makes our food system vulnerable to pests, diseases, and climate change. Heirloom seeds help keep biodiversity alive. The more varieties we preserve, the more resilient our food supply becomes. A rare corn from Mexico might carry drought tolerance. A forgotten bean from Peru might resist blight. Nature's insurance policy lies in diversity. Seed saving is an ancient human practice, older than writing, older than metal tools. For more than 10,000 years, farmers across every continent selected and saved seeds from the best performing plants. This was the original form of agriculture research and development, carried out not in labs, but in home gardens, forest clearings, and communal fields. Each season, seeds were chosen based on qualities like taste, yield, drought tolerance, or resistance to local pests. Over time, this led to land races, locally adapted plant varieties with rich genetic diversity. These seeds were deeply entwined with culture, cuisine, and community identity. They were often traded, gifted, or celebrated in rituals and festivals. In many indigenous cultures, seeds are considered sacred relatives, not commodities. But the rise of industrial agriculture in the 20th century began to change everything. Mechanized farming demanded uniform crops. Chemical inputs like synthetic fertilizers and pesticides required plants bred to perform under those artificial conditions. The Green Revolution, while boosting yields, also displaced traditional varieties with a handful of commercial hybrids. Seed companies began patenting plant genetics, creating legal barriers that prevented farmers from saving or sharing seeds. Today, just 4 companies control over 60% of the global seed market. In the process, we've lost an estimated 90% of our edible plant varieties, replacing vibrant genetic diversity with a narrow, vulnerable monoculture. Heirloom seed preservation is a grassroots resistance to that loss. It's about keeping seeds in the public domain, protecting cultural knowledge, and restoring biological resilience to our food systems. When we save seeds, we save stories, identities, and options for the future. Seed sovereignty is the right of people, especially farmers, gardeners, and indigenous communities, to breed, save, and exchange seeds without corporate or legal interference. It's a growing global movement that challenges the corporate control of agriculture and reaffirms seeds as a shared inheritance of humanity. One of the most well-known leaders in this movement is environmental activist Dr. Vandana Shiva, who founded Navdanya in India. Since 1987, Navdanya has helped farmers save over 3,000 seed varieties, trained more than 1 million people in sustainable farming practices, and established community seed banks across the country. Shiva argues that seed freedom is essential for food security, ecological balance, and social justice. In the United States, the Seed Savers Exchange, founded in 1975, is a nonprofit dedicated to preserving heirloom seeds and making them accessible. Their seed bank holds over 20,000 rare and open-pollinated varieties. Every seed carries a legacy, and Seed Savers works to ensure that legacy isn't lost to time or commodification. Similar movements are sprouting around the world. In the Philippines, the Masipag network of farmers and scientists cultivates farmer-led research and seed sharing. In East Africa, seed fairs and local cooperatives are reviving traditional seed knowledge, and in Europe, networks like Arsh Noah are fighting restrictive seed laws and promoting biodiversity through open source seed licenses. Seed sovereignty isn't just about agriculture, it's about resisting exploitation, preserving cultural identity, and building climate resilience. When communities save their own seeds, they become less dependent on expensive commercial inputs and more able to grow crops suited to their local environment, soil, and traditions. This autonomy empowers small farmers and reduces vulnerability in an increasingly volatile global food system. At its heart, seed sovereignty is a declaration that seeds belong to the people, not to patents, and that the future of food lies in cooperation, not control. Seed banks are the guardians of our agricultural future. These specialized storage facilities collect, catalog, and preserve seeds from around the world, acting as genetic insurance against crop failure, climate change, war, and natural disasters. The most iconic example is the Svalbard Global Seed Vault, sometimes called the Doomsday Vault. Located deep inside a mountain on a remote Arctic island in Norway, it was designed to withstand virtually any global crisis. Since opening in 2008, it has stored over 1.2 million distinct seed samples from nearly every country, backups of backups, frozen in permafrost to preserve them for centuries. But while Svalbard grabs headlines, equally important are the thousands of regional and community-based seed banks around the world. These local seed banks don't just store seeds, they keep them alive. Seeds are distributed, grown, and resaved year after year, allowing them to continue adapting to shifting environmental conditions like drought, pests, or disease. For example, the Millennium Seed Bank in the UK focuses on preserving wild plant species, while SIAD in Colombia holds one of the largest collections of bean and cassava seeds, essential crops in Latin America and Africa. In Ethiopia, community seed banks maintain land races of teff and other indigenous grains, ensuring food security in the face of climate uncertainty. In the U.S., seed libraries have sprung up in public libraries, allowing everyday gardeners to check out seeds for free, with the understanding that they'll return seeds from their harvest. This model helps strengthen local food systems and fosters a culture of reciprocity. Together, these banks, global and grassroots, form a living network of biological and cultural preservation. They don't just store seeds, they protect stories, cuisines, and resilience passed down through generations. In a time of climate unpredictability, seed banks are not just repositories, they're lifeboats. Heirloom seeds aren't just practical, they're a celebration of biodiversity, beauty, and flavor. Imagine harvesting deep indigo tomatoes, lemon yellow cucumbers, or scarlet runner beans with fire red blossoms. These varieties often have poetic names passed down through generations, like Aunt Molly's ground cherry, Moon and Star's watermelon, or Mortgage Lifter tomato, each with a story as rich as its taste. Unlike modern hybrid seeds bred for uniformity and shelf life, heirlooms are open-pollinated and genetically diverse. This means their seeds can be saved and replanted year after year, gradually adapting to the unique conditions of your garden, be it coastal, mountain, urban balcony, or rural plot. Many heirloom varieties also boast higher nutritional profiles, especially when grown in organic or regenerative systems that enrich soil microbiology. Studies have shown, for example, that some older tomato varieties contain significantly more vitamin C and antioxidants than their commercial counterparts. And because these plants haven't been selected for long-distance shipping or glossy appearances, they often have superior flavor, which is why chefs and food lovers gravitate towards them. Growing heirlooms is also a way to participate in cultural preservation. Indigenous and immigrant communities around the world have stewarded traditional varieties for centuries. Planting these seeds in your garden connects you not only to the earth, but to a lineage of knowledge, taste, and survival. It's seed saving as storytelling. So, whether you're tending a windowsill herb box or a backyard food forest, Heirloom seeds allow you to be part of something bigger, a living archive of nature and culture that you can taste, nurture, and pass on. Heirloom plants often have characteristics that make them far more supportive of local ecosystems than many commercial hybrids, while modern varieties are typically bred for traits like uniform ripening, shipping durability, or cosmetic appeal. Heirlooms have been selected over generations for traits like flavor, fragrance, and resilience, traits that also happen to benefit pollinators. Many heirloom vegetables and flowers produce more nectar, pollen, and aromatic compounds than their hybridized counterparts. This makes them incredibly attractive to bees, butterflies, moths, hummingbirds, and even beetles. For example, heirloom varieties of basil, borage, and echinacea bloom for longer periods and offer richer nectar sources. That means more food for pollinators and more biodiversity for your garden. Supporting pollinators is crucial in a time of global decline. According to the UN, nearly 35% of invertebrate pollinators, particularly bees and butterflies, face extinction due to habitat loss, pesticide use, and climate change. Without these species, ecosystems unravel, crops fail, native plants disappear. By planting heirlooms, you're not just growing food, you're creating a mini refuge. Each flower or vegetable plot can serve as a biodiversity corridor, especially in urban or suburban areas where natural habitats are fragmented. These pockets of diversity help rebuild food webs, attract beneficial insects like ladybugs and lacewings, and even support bird populations. Heirloom gardening becomes a kind of quiet activism. You're not just tending your own garden, you're helping to rewild your space and stitch broken ecosystems back together, one plant at a time. Despite their immense cultural, nutritional, and ecological value, heirloom seeds are under constant threat. One of the biggest issues is corporate consolidation. Just four companies now control more than 60% of the global seed market. These companies often promote hybrid or genetically modified seeds that can't be saved and replanted, locking farmers into a cycle of annual purchases. This undermines food sovereignty and puts entire food systems at risk of homogenization. Seed laws and intellectual property rights are another barrier. In some regions, saving or sharing seeds is restricted by laws meant to protect patented varieties. While these laws may support innovation in industrial agriculture, they can unintentionally criminalize traditional seed-sharing practices that have sustained communities for centuries. Habitat loss also plays a major role as wild land is converted into monoculture farms or urban sprawl. We lose the native plant varieties and the knowledge to cultivate them that once thrived there. Climate change further accelerates this loss by altering growing conditions and stressing fragile ecosystems that support heirloom species. Perhaps one of the most overlooked challenges is cultural erosion and lack of awareness. In many places, younger generations have lost touch with the stories and skills of seed saving. Supermarket convenience often replaces homegrown diversity. People may not realize that choosing a uniform, seedless watermelon over a vibrant, seed-rich heirloom not only affects their plate, but the planet. Every heirloom variety that disappears takes with it a legacy of adaptation, flavor, nutrition, and resilience. Preserving these seeds means preserving memory, identity, and biological insurance for future generations. In Appalachian communities, heirloom beans are passed down like heirlooms of gold. In Guatemala, farmers grow native maize as an act of resistance and preservation. Across Europe and North America, seed swaps and festivals celebrate seed sharing as community building. Groups like the Rocky Mountain Seed Alliance and Native Seeds Search are preserving rare varieties and teaching people how to grow, save, and share seeds. In the Philippines, indigenous farmers are revitalizing ancestral rice varieties that thrive in high-altitude terraces, preserving both cultural identity and climate resilience. In Kenya, community seed banks help smallholder farmers adapt to erratic rainfall by offering drought-tolerant land races. These efforts show that seed saving is more than just a nostalgic hobby. It's a global movement rooted in food justice, ecological stewardship, and local empowerment. Every saved seed is a step toward reclaiming control over our food and future. Want to help? Start small. Buy heirloom seeds from ethical companies. Grow a few varieties in your garden or even on your balcony. Learn how to save seeds and share them with neighbors. Join or start a seed library. Every tomato you grow from a saved seed is a small act of rebellion and renewal. It's about protecting food for future generations. And if this episode inspired you, please consider supporting this podcast at patreon.com/Green Earth Essentials. Your support helps us keep bringing these essential conversations to life. Until next time, remember, nature is wise. Let's listen and plant accordingly. This is Michelle Jackson, signing off.